I'm gonna play some songs for y'all tonight, man. This first one's called Overloaded.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Slagle hanging out here with the guys. Hey, it's loud here. Guys from Gypsy Hawk right before they play their record release party here at Vacation Vinyl. You can see behind us the Gorilla Mall truck and everything. How's it going, guys?
It's going amazing, man. It's awesome tonight.
How are you?
I'm having a fucking blast, and we haven't even started yet.
So is it going to get better or worse when you start
It's
playing?
gonna get progressively better, and then even better, and even better, just so absolutely horrible, which is the best, you know, so it's gonna be a good night.
Awesome, I like it. So, brand new record's out. So far, the response has been amazing. So tell us a little bit about how the record came together and like where you recorded it and that good stuff.
Sure, yeah. We started writing the album about a year ago. It was just a couple tracks that we did on our tour, our last tour, which was a year ago, and sort of felt out some of those, and they started coming together, and then we spent the rest of 2011 in the studio non-stop cranking out the tunes because we wanted to get it done as soon as possible. And so we went to the studio in February in Oakland and did all the songs in about 6 days, and it turned out better than we could have imagined. We didn't even know like how good the songs were until they were recorded.
That's always scary. It's like, well, we're not sure if these songs are any good, but we're going to record them anyway. So how was it recording up in the Bay Area?
Recording in the Bay is awesome because I fucking love that city. It's just great. And then recording with Zach was extra special because he's like one of the best engineers I've ever worked with, and he's just a rad dude. The weather was great. We have friends there, so it was a killer time. But yeah, so it was pretty stress free, other than the last day being like, shit, we have 6 guitar tracks and vocals left to do, and we're like, better do it. And luckily we got it done.
This place is wild, vibrant and loud. So much to do with so very little time. And you must understand one thing before you die. Don't let nothing get you down, just take it on the stride.
So now, the record sounds awesome.
Thank you.
Do you attribute that to Zach, or do you attribute it to you, or is it maybe some sort of combination of the two?
Well, we wrote the song, so we'll definitely take most of the credit, but Zach gets a lot of the credit too, because he just had a masterful ear of how to like get everything sonically layered and big. I mean, it just sounds a lot heavier than a lot of the other rock albums that come out these days. Everyone wants to do everything on analog, which is really cool, but they don't sound as big as Deep Purple and Thin Lizzy and everything that was from back then. But I think ours comes closer to that, and then also has kind of a modern, heavy type metal sound to it. So it's this perfect combination. So and that's all Zach.
So all of the accolades are starting to come in. A lot of bands loving what you guys are doing. One of the first ones, of course, that we know about now is The Sword, who have asked to take you out on the road and do some tour dates.
Yeah, dude.
How is that feeling?
That is the best feeling, like going from like doing all of the tours ourselves, and like we never brought anybody out, never been brought out by anybody. And then like, the first package thing we get to do is like the fucking one band that we would have wanted to do it with anyway, and especially the fact that we heard that they requested us is like, that's awesome, man. Like we feel super privileged, and it's great, man. It's gonna be an awesome time.
So now when people come to see you guys live, what are they going to see? What are you going to bring to the table when they come live? Tell me. Tell them. Get them excited. Pump them up.
You're gonna see a lot of headbanging and a lot of shredding, and yeah, you're gonna see a lot of butt cheeks. Not necessarily mine, but we'll flip a coin. We'll see what happens. You're gonna see some nudity for sure.
Male nudity or female nudity?
Whatever the crowd really wants.
We'll leave it up to them.
That's interesting, I think. Female nudity is good. The male nudity is, I'm not sure. But, I guess if that brings in the female fans, that might be okay.
Yeah, we'll see, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's ever worked that you just like hung a bunch of dudes' dicks out and girls were like, oh my god, let's get naked. But if it works,
It only works for like Burning Man or something. So if you guys play Burning Man, maybe it'll work for them. I'm not 100% sure. So what else are you guys? Obviously, you got the tour coming up, the record's coming out. You also guys are working on a video that's coming along slowly but surely. How do you feel that's going?
Oh, the video is looking really cool right now. It's looking like an epic fantasy movie. It's like something Peter Jackson would be stoked to do. You know, we're like the rock soundtrack to those movies, I think, and I think that's the video is going to live up to that.
So now it's for the song Hedge King. So you want to give a little bit of a underlying theme as to what that song's about and why the imaging in the video is what it is?
Totally. Yeah, we're super big nerds, and we're way into George R. R. Martin's book series, A Song of Ice and Fire. And so reading that, you know, the book is just so full of all kinds of shit that it even gives room for you to like make up like, oh, what would it be like if this, you know, like those what if comics, you know? So like the song idea is basically based around this fictional idea about if Robert Baratheon in the books had given up his crown and just thrown away his responsibility and all the pressure of like ruling a fucking kingdom and all the people you have to, you know, deal with all the time, and just going and just fucking living his life like he wants to and having a good time and just living it stress free, which is, we're all about that shit. So.
And now, for those of you who don't know, we're talking about Game of Thrones here, for those HBO Game of Thrones fans. This is the series of books that Game of Thrones are about, which of course you guys were reading long before HBO ever thought about that, right?
I remember when we were reading, I turned him on the books, and then like one day he was like, dude, HBO picked up the fucking books and they're gonna make it a show, and I was like, no fucking way. So like we were super nerded out, stoked, and we were so pumped for like this whole idea. We'd known about it through the media, that when it finally came down to like the day one when they showed, you know, the first episode, we had built this like mock like rustic feast, you know, like of like roasted chicken and fucking olives and, you know, almonds, all this crazy nerdy shit, but it was just like a huge deal for us. So it was cool.
So now that you've seen it, do you approve of the Game of Thrones?
Yeah, short answer, yes, just because, you know, it's not how I would have loved it to be, but they're working with a limited budget and there's only like, you know, so much you can do in real life that's captured in a novel. So, you know, I don't think anyone is ever that satisfied when a book is adapted to movie or any screen, but I think all in all, they're doing a really badass job and getting it where it really counts the most. The Blackwater scene was so fucking awesome, and that made up for any shortcomings the show might have elsewhere.
So I love Game of Thrones, so I guess the key here is watch Game of Thrones on HBO, read the books, and make sure you look for the Hedge King video that's coming out very soon, right?
Yeah.
Overloaded brains driving us insane. Preoccupied, don't lose your mind.
I also read that you guys are into quantum physics. I think it's the only band I've ever heard of that actually mentioned even the word quantum physics.
I mean, like,
is that really true? Are you guys? I mean, you're from Pasadena, which is right by JPL, so maybe that's.
Totally. Yeah, that's what it must have rubbed off. No, I mean, like me and Andrew, like we're very interested with the I guess like the discoveries and like you know, like anything that they're investigating through science and math. We're not like, oh my god, this theorem was applied and look what happened. Like we don't know that shit, and we just like read news headlines and like read, you know, like articles on like what the latest is with quantum physics. But that shit is super interesting because a lot of it like is just, you know, kind of like they're discovering like a lot of these Eastern religions that are like, you know, these yogis and shit, all this transcendentalism, like it's kind of where quantum physics is heading, like on a mathematical level, and like that shit's just fucking heavy, man. Like this, it's a trip, you know.
That is a heavy subject, actually. It's a very heavy subject. So, what other, like in terms of the direction of the record, in terms of the lyrics, obviously you guys talk a lot about the Game of Thrones stuff, the books and quantum physics, and also adult beveraging, we'll say, drinking as well. So it's an interesting amount of stuff in there, right?
Oh yeah, man, like, you know, we work hard, we play hard. We read nerdy books all day and watch YouTube videos about other civilizations across the galaxy, and then we get drunk as fuck.
So lastly, as you can see, it's dusk here in Los Angeles, so it's about to get dark. But before we let you go, there's one very important thing we must discuss. And Vince over there on his monopod needs to get a close-up of this awesome tattoo here. Oh, very impressive.
We might as well get Phil himself.
Well, yes, the other part of it as well. So Obviously, if you listen to your records, Thin Lizzy is a big influence, and it's obviously inked on here. How long ago did you get this tattoo there?
That's probably at least like 4 or 5 years now. No, it's got to be longer than that, 6, 7 years, something like that. Yeah, I remember when I first heard Thin Lizzy, my friend Pete turned me on to him, and he's like, "You've heard Thin Lizzy, right?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, I'm sure that you've heard Thin Lizzy," and I was like, "I promise you've never heard that band name." And then he just goes, "The Boys Are Back in Town." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that band." Yeah. So then he turns on Don't Believe a Word, and like it's just like everything else in reality just dropped out, and I was like, "This is unfucking real, dude." So I was just like immediately hooked. And 7 years ago, one of my friends was talking to me about, I was talking to someone else about Thin Lizzy. They had a Phil tattoo or something. And my friend was like, "Why don't you have a Thin Lizzy tattoo?" And I was like, "That is a good fucking question. I'm going to go get one right now." So then I just took care of it, and then that's about it.
Good man. Any Phil Lynott or Thin Lizzy tattoos over here?
No, just a Game of Thrones one.
Well, you're gonna have to work. You're gonna have to work on that. So check out the new album by Gypsy Hawk, which is called
Revelry and Resilience, and I nailed it.
Oh, that's good. It's hard to say like real fast. Check it out. Check these guys on the road with Sword and everything else. So be good. Thanks, guys.
Stick around, hang out for a second, we're gonna go party after this shit, man. Thanks again to Pete, Vacation Vinyl, fucking Grill Mom, and Metal Blade. Being here and putting this on, man. We appreciate y'all.